Boy, if you don't get...
What's going on, guys? My name is Bryant, also known as That Journaling Guy, and welcome back to the Part 2 New York City stationery vlog. I know it's been a really long time, but all right, we're pumping out more content now. We're doing good. We're doing really well. So I thought it was time to bring out the back catalog that I've had for so long and just finish up this editing and bring it back to you guys, because all the comments are like, where's Part 2? Part 2 is here. I'm sorry. I know it took forever, but it's here. And I really like Part 2 actually a little bit more. So it's a little bit of a secret. Don't let anybody. And we just visited so many more places. Like so many more places. It was tiring. It was so tiring. And you're going to see throughout the video of just how much I'm like, yo, this is a lot. This is actually pretty exhausting. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know if you've been to any of these places or if you plan on going to any of these places in the future. I hope this video kind of gives you an idea of the type of stationery stores that you can expect in New York City. But I don't want to hold you here for too long. So without further ado, is it ado or is it further due? Without, you know. Here's part 2 of the vlog.
Said I'd never fall, I'd never fall, I'd never fall, but then I fell for you. Back against the wall, against the wall, against the wall, that's how it felt with you. One weekend in Portland, you weren't even my girlfriend. We were walking and talking, and somebody said, let's get tattoos together, something to remember. If it's way too soon, fuck it, whatever. Give me shapes and letters, if it's not forever.
This is the map of the second day of our trip. So just to give you an idea, on the second day we visited 9 stationery stores with a trip total of 14. In those 2 days we spent in the city, we walked a grand total of about 20 miles. So in other words, about 380 blocks. So keep that in mind if you decide you want to walk this entire trip like we did. So for our first place, we have the Fountain Pen Hospital. And I was a little bit smarter with our starting point in this trip for the second day to make sure we didn't really miss out on too much. So founded in 1946 by Phil Weiderlight, the Fountain Pen Hospital has become a staple in the pen industry. Essentially, their staff, right, have a combined experience of over 50 years in sales and the usage of like fine writing instruments. The showroom is considered to have one of the largest selections of pens in the world. They've had people like Ernest Hemingway visit the shop. And honestly, this was the highlight of my trip. This was the reason I decided to make this trip overall. And I went in with the goal of buying my first luxury pen. I already knew what pen it was. I knew what I was looking for. But the awestruck feeling that you feel just walking into this place is genuinely an experience. Like, it's hugely unassuming from the inside, but once you go inside, it really is breathtaking. It wasn't at all what I was expecting when I showed up, but it pleasantly surprised me. I don't know why I was expecting something a little bit more old school, a little bit more like antique shop-esque. No. There's so many pens. There's so much ink. There's so many things to see that it really is an amazing experience. But I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, okay? And this is just from my experience personally. It might not be a reflection of the business, but I didn't have the best customer service experience after buying my pen there. I wouldn't really consider this place newbie friendly. Like, the staff seemed to prioritize people who kind of spent big money, or a little bit of talking down to you if this was your first, or if you weren't knowledgeable about pens. So that's just my personal experience. I just want you guys to be aware of that when going in to purchase any pens or when going to the store. But I highly recommend experiencing this once if you are a pen enthusiast at all. Opening up in 1999 is our second place. It's Soho Art Materials, and honestly, this place is a painter's paradise. Not necessarily my thing, but I can absolutely appreciate the variety and sheer amount of painting supplies that they had. Seriously, like everything from canvases to different brand paints to brushes, custom framing, and even a few little stationery supplies like sketchbooks and color pencils. The manager was super nice, and after I asked him if I could record, he said, yeah, it's not a problem. But genuinely, I was just impressed, okay? I was impressed with the things that you could do with painting. And now that I'm so into painting in my Hobonichi, yes, I'm in Hobonichi now, I feel like I can really appreciate the variety that you find here. It was a really cool little place. So if you paint at all, I definitely would add this to your checklist of places to go on your stationery trip. So the manager there was very nice. He let me record. Not my type of art store, but if you're ever in New York and you need some painting supplies, that might be the place to go. They had every kind of painting supply you could think of. I'm about to get copyrighted for that song. It's like on the here. Avocado! So our next stop is actually Muji, and we went to 2 Muji stores on this trip actually within the same day. The first one was in Soho and the second one was in Fifth Avenue, but they aren't necessarily the friendliest when it comes to recording. They had to tell me to stop recording, so that's why the footage isn't very long, but that's fine, completely understandable. So if you don't know what Muji is a Japanese retail company that was founded in the 1980s. So they're really known for their simple but like functional aesthetic. Like the best way I could describe it would be like Japanese minimalism. Okay, it's like an aesthetic that you're gonna see in all of their stuff, from clothing to their household goods to pretty much their stationery. And one of the first things that I ever got to start my stationery collection was their Muji pens, like their Muji gel pens. And to this day, it's still the gel pens that I recommend to anybody who's looking for gel pens. I have a few of their notebooks and I do enjoy using them, but I don't feel like there's anything to stand out about them. Except that they're brandless, you know, so if you don't like big logos or fancy fonts, it's definitely something you could use. It's really dope being inside of a Muji store. It's the same feeling of like walking into an IKEA for the first time. You start to imagine all of the could-be's and like all the cool stuff you could do if you had all the nice things you find in the store. Highly recommend going to a Muji, and it was tons of fun to be inside. All right, I'm going to be upfront with you, okay? The next stop, Goods for the Study, absolutely has a special place in my heart. And I'm going to tell you why in the next one, because this is actually like the sister store. There are 2 Goods for the Study shops in New York City. And this is the first time I'm visiting this one. This one's Good for the Study's Mulberry Street. So this shop is actually broken into 2 different locations, right next to each other, but 2 places like nonetheless. The right side is focused on all their paper-based supplies like notebooks, refills, and covers, while the other side is focused on like all of their writing instruments, so like pens, markers, fountain pens, and pencils. They have really well-known brands like Traveler's Company. They have Traveler's Company's refills, they have Moleskine, they have Midori notebooks. And as for the pen sides, they have things like Pilot, Faber-Castell, all types of brands that you can imagine. They have the standard, but everything feels like it's not just thrown together. The wall of pens and pencils is especially jaw-dropping when you see it for the first time, because one of the first things you tell yourself is, I didn't even know there could be that many pens and pencils. How many things exist? They have everything in different colors, different sizes, different points, cap flavors. I don't know. It's intense, but it is really, really cool to see, and it could be overwhelming, honestly. So like 3 words I think I would use to describe this store, okay, would be like modern, vintage, but like cozy, right? So like, you understand what I'm saying? The staff is really knowledgeable and they're very, very nice. Again, they did let me record. So I came in, I asked them if I could record for this video, and yeah, they were perfectly fine. And if I was looking for something, they would look something up for me. It was absolutely no problem at all. Our next stop caught me completely by surprise, okay? Our next stop is Blick Art Materials. And after talking to people on stream, apparently, you know, there's a lot of Blick stores around, but this is the first one that I had ever been to. And when I tell you my jaw is literally on the floor, I can't even. Do you understand? There's not one, okay? There's not three, but there's 2 floors of anything that you could possibly imagine to start a hobby. This place is huge, like way bigger. 2 floors, and they literally have any kind of art supply you can think of, like any. It's actually kind of crazy. This is like a Michael's times 10, maybe even more. There's a lot. There is a lot. The best way I could describe Blick is that it has everything you could ever look for to like start a hobby, but nothing like super specialized. Like it'll get you into what you want to do, but like at a superficial level. Like literally any hobby though, from painting miniatures to painting to wood burning to clay modeling, everything. It's an incredibly general store, but it's massive. And I'm jealous. I'm freaking jealous. All right. It's like a Michael's on crack and I'm in love. It's spectacular. And could you imagine all of the hobbies I could start if I had a Blick near me? And it's such a surprise to see something this big in the middle of New York City. Like most of the shops we visited so far were little like holes in the walls. They were relatively small, like cozy, but this felt like a giant fucking retail store. It was huge and I'm obsessed. I think it was a really, really cool place to be and also very highly recommended. I'm not gonna lie. After 3 days of walking, you know, like 15 miles, I'm exhausted. It's a very exhausting trip. We're walking everywhere. My feet hurt. So if you do end up coming on this trip, utilize the subway out the ass. Take Ubers. They're very expensive though. Ubers are super, super duper expensive. So keep that in mind. But I love this. Like this Blick store was phenomenal. When I mean phenomenal, it's like if a Michael's was on crack, like steroids. It has all the generic items you're looking for, like super generic level of everything, like nothing like super niche, but they had everything, all of it. And it's 2 floors. There was 2 floors of literally every hobby you could possibly think of. So I wish I had one of these by me because it's pretty fantastic in there. Like it was really cool. And they had brands I've never heard of. Blick even had their own like brand of stationery. Regular prices, like nothing too crazy. It's not like super boosted because it's New York. So it worked out. It was pretty cool. But I'm tired. I'm tired. You're gonna be tired. I'm telling you now. It's exhausting. And it's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we've only been here for 3 hours now. So yeah, let's keep going. So the next stop on our marvelous journey is NIKO Zaka. So in 2021, I really felt like I discovered Japanese stationery. Like I really dove into the hobby face first. Okay, it was the year where I absolutely fell in love with it. And this felt like the culmination of everything I had seen on the internet, on Instagram, and it was amazing. So opening in like 2019, NIKO is everything that you would want from a Japanese stationery store here in the States. Like everything is handpicked by the staff to make sure that they offer you the best selection of quality stationery from Japan. You'll find notebooks, stamps, washi tape, desk accessories, fountain pens, wax seals, and a lot of handmade Japanese goodies here. Like the entire place was just so cozy and inviting, and I didn't want to leave. Like I can't describe the feeling. It just felt so comfy to be there. They have a thriving internet retail side to their business, which I highly recommend checking out if you're nowhere near New York City. You can just go to their website and you can see their selection there. It's honestly pretty phenomenal. And they started out in Etsy, and to start out from Etsy to ending up having a retail store in New York City is like one of my favorite success stories ever, and I can't wait to go back. Other than being extremely warm in there, that was awesome. That was such a cool little shop, honestly. Like, I don't know what it is about the Japanese stationery shops that make them insane, but that's so cozy, and they have all the little Japanese things you're looking for. They got the traveler's notebook, the washi, the stamps, the fountain pen inks, everything. And honestly, it was just really nice, really cozy. It was vibes. It was all over vibes. It was just really warm in there. Like really, really warm the entire time. So that's probably my second favorite spot that we've hit so far for the day. I think this list is just going to end up being Japanese stationery is like the top 3 stationery shops of New York City, because that is so cute. And it's like a niche little thing, you know? They have a little bit of everything, but very specific things that you only find at the Japanese stationery. So it's a little, but it's really cool. I like it. I already recommend it. Hopefully talk a little bit about it more when you guys are seeing the clips, but I really like it. And now we've showed up to my baby. All right. I absolutely love this store. Okay. This is the second goods for this study, or probably like the first, but you know, the second one we're talking about in this video. So it has a really, really special place in my heart because it is actually the first stationery store I ever went to in my life. And I'm talking about like specialized stationery, right? Like specifically for stationery. And before stumbling across this, I didn't even know stationery stores were a thing. Like the most I've ever been exposed to stationery was something like Michael's or like Walmart. And it was because of this specific store that I told myself I would start a series like this. Like I told myself, I want to see all of the stationery places I possibly can in New York City. And hopefully it does become a really fun series. Now you'll find everything you would expect to find in a place like this, right? But then you'll find so much more. So of course you'll find the notebooks, desk accessories, pens, markers, pencils, but even lamps. Like cute ass, decorative as fuck lamps. All right. I remember my heart just feeling so full seeing this place for the first time. And it just draws you in. Like everything just draws you in. The music, the people, the little stations of supplies for you to try stuff out. Like it feels like your dream home office when it comes to home stationery, right? Like it's just very charming, and there's so much care into choosing the stationery that they sell. Everything feels like perfectly curated. But, and there's a big but, it's not the cheapest of the bunch. Out of all of the stores, I would say Goods for the Study is on the more expensive side, and you're really going to feel that New York City markup for stuff that you would probably find a little bit cheaper on Amazon. But again, if you're in the city, this is more of the experience, the stationery experience, seeing the wall of pens, seeing all fancy fountain pens right in front of you, being able to play with brands that you've probably never even heard of, and then being in a space where people share the same hobby as you. It really is a unique experience. Checking in whatever fucking time it is. It's been 7 miles. We're probably going to be doing around 8 miles today, but we hit a lot of the stores, like a lot of our stationery stores that we were going to hit. But dude, I am tired. Like if you're going to follow this path that I made, be super fit or grab a taxi and Uber, or use the subway. The subway is probably really good. But the problem with using the subway is that they're so close to each other, like certain points of our stores are so close to each other that it would be pointless to get on the subway. So unless you're going from like different points of the island, there's no point. Oh, I haven't been this tired in a really, really long time though. Like even on my trip to Japan where it felt like we were walking all day, it's still not this tired. It's hot and it's humid. Really fun though. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. I'm having fun. You having fun? Yeah. That's so much fun. So, all right. Well, for the pseudo final stop of our trip, and I say pseudo final stop because Muji on 5th Avenue is actually our last stop, but they didn't let us record, is Koryo Books. Okay, it's in the heart of K-Town, and you're gonna find this lovely gem hidden away. No, it's actually pretty big. I'll be honest, there wasn't too much stationery here, okay? It had a lot of run-of-the-mill type of stuff. It was your basic stationery. Where this blew me away, though, was the sheer amount of K-pop stuff they had, okay? There was so much merchandise, like everything from playing cards to shirts to pencil cases. And my girlfriend at the time was even able to find BTS albums that she couldn't find online.
That's a file folder, that J-Hope thing.
Yeah, look, there's Jimin, like transparent cards.
Whoa. We just happened to fall upon the biggest This has more BTS stuff than the Lion and Friends BT21 thing.
Oh, right.
It got a lot. This is what I expected at the Lion and Friends. Oh my god, Jimin, my baby, I love you. Wow.
Of course, BTS is clearly the favorite of the store. Either way, I thought it was a really, really nice little place to visit.
Don't Bubby me nothing. We gotta go. Alright? So, somehow we ended up in K-Town, and she found so much more BTS stuff than we did at the Line store. And it's crazy. Like literally that whole Koryo book was just BTS and like Korean books. Highly recommend. And now it was all in hip-hop. Now another mile to our next destination. So
as you can clearly see in this frame, I am tired. I want to go home, and we had another mile after this. I think I was done with the day. After this point, I think we were good. I was exhausted, all right? It was a lot, okay? Like, did you see my face on that last clip? I was tired, okay? I was really tired. It had been like 20 miles throughout the day, all right? 20 miles is a lot, all right? I'm a chunky kind of guy. Like, we were exhausted. Listen, whatever. Expect to walk a lot, okay? Because it doesn't make sense to Uber to a lot of these places because they're so close, but they're not close enough where you're like, oh, it's just right there. It's, you know, but you don't want to pay $12 for an Uber. Listen, that's a situation that you're going to have to deal with if you go to these stationery stores. But we've reached the end of the video. Hopefully you made it this far. I really appreciate if you did. If you did get that far, leave a little fountain pen emoji in the comment section to let me know that you watched the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really enjoyed like looking back at these videos, and I can't wait to go back and continue this series with other stores. Like I said, there were stores that I missed, like Yoseka and the Lamy flagship store, and unfortunately I missed CW Pencils, and CW Pencils did close permanently in November 2021. So I'm kind of beating myself up a little bit for not going when I had the opportunity, but it is what it is. That was my poor planning, so that's my bad. So make sure to subscribe, leave a like, all right? Let me know what part of the video you liked and where you're gonna go. Don't forget to follow me at my Instagram, where I post a lot of funny reels and a lot of my own personal spreads and kind of explain the process behind my journaling. If you're interested in that, you can follow me at that journaling guy at Instagram, whatever. You get the idea. I hope you guys enjoyed everything, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.